Shalom, 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 Israel. This is Captain Paul Israel from Kingdom Builders of Israel LLC, and today's class topic is going to be on biblical femininity according to the Bible, part 1. Okay, Israel, today's class topic is going to be on biblical femininity according to the Bible, part 1. Okay, Israel, so this is going to be a good class lesson to discuss due to the fact that many of our sisters that's trying to walk the righteous path don't have the right direction. So this is the proper understanding of how to have the biblical understanding of femininity, okay, versus the world understanding on what femininity is, okay? So we about to get into this lesson, Israel. So get out your pen and notepad, Israel. So this is going to be a good lesson to go over so our Hebrew women can have the right direction on the proper spirit of understanding so they can be in the good light of the Most High Yah. Okay, so they can be in the good graces of the Most High to be saved in these last days to inherit the kingdom of heaven that's going to be established on earth based upon their spiritual understanding according to the scriptures. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, it says on this next slide, it says biblical femininity example. Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1. So this is going to be the King James Version understanding. They give a core basis of an example of biblical femininity. Okay. It says Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. You see this, Israel? It says every wise woman buildeth her house. So a wise woman knows how to make sure her house is operating in order. It says, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands, because a foolish woman is not concerned about the house that she dwells in. She's only concerned about her own self-interest, right? She's not really caring about her children. She's not really caring about her husband. She's only caring about herself. So anything that's operating in the house of understanding is going to fall, because her whole interest is only on herself. So she's a selfish spirit. That's what makes her a fool. But a wise woman is focused on the whole house in general. Okay, a wise woman is focused on her husband and her children and also herself. And also she's basing the building of the house based upon Yahweh's commandments. That's what a wise woman is doing. A foolish woman is not building the house on Yahweh's commandments. Okay, so now we go to the next slide. We're going to the next slide. It says, a woman buildeth her house, examples. So let's go into where it says a woman buildeth her house, examples. It's okay, because we got the understanding that every wise woman buildeth her house. So this is what we're explaining in the book of Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1 on every wise woman buildeth her house. So this is going to explain what it means that a woman buildeth her house, example. So this is going to give the example of that understanding. Okay, from the book of Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1. It says a woman buildeth her house, examples. It says she loves cooking. She loves the concept of contributing to the bills of the house. She doesn't get mad over a 50-50 concept between husband and wife. She loves to clean the house. She makes sure her husband and children are taken care of first. She makes sure her health is well maintained. So this is the understanding of an example of a woman that buildeth her house on order and structure. Okay, an honorable woman is going to love cooking. As you can see in this particular picture, she loves cooking. The next understanding is she loves the concept of contributing to the bills of the house, because that's her role, to contribute to the bills of the house by assisting her husband in making payments and making bills and handling certain debts that need to get resolved, right? Because she's thinking long term. So when she gets to the retirement age, her family would be well off. Okay? It says she doesn't get mad over a 50-50 concept between husband and wife scenario or situation, because a woman that is based upon making sure that house is run appropriately, this particular woman is going to be willing to put her effort into making sure that house is well maintained as well. She's not going to just be ignorantly just put all the pressure on one man to make sure the house is ran properly. No, she's going to take some of the pressure off her husband and also create a certain balance, because this woman knows her role. She knows that she is supposed to be a helpmate unto the man. Okay, that's Yahweh's law given unto woman. Okay, from the beginning. See, Yahweh gave a woman a law in order to abide by being a helpmate to assist her husband. Point blank, period. And that's why it says she doesn't get mad over a 50-50 concept between husband and wife. Okay? Because she knows that's her role as a wife, to be a contributor, to being a helpmate in any way, shape, or form that she can to assist her husband in helping maintain the house. It says she loves to clean the house. So this particular woman, she loves cleaning the house. She loves cleaning the house because she knows this is how you keep the house well maintained. Help it look good, fresh, right? And it says she makes sure her husband and children are taken care of first. So she puts her husband and children on that pedestal to make sure they're okay. Whether it involves clothing, whether it involves health-related issues, whether it involves how they look in public, she makes sure these particular individuals are up to standard. Okay, this is all a part of building the house. Okay, it says she makes sure her health is well maintained, and also the mother, right, who is the wife, right, she's going to make sure her health is well maintained. Because she knows if her health is not well maintained, she cannot be an asset unto her husband. She cannot be an asset to her children, because she did not maintain a balanced lifestyle when it comes to health. So in order for her to make sure that house is running appropriately, she knows she has to go to doctor checkups. She knows she has to make sure she exercises. She knows she has to make sure she's eating properly. She has an appropriate diet to maintain a certain type of weight. Okay, so this is what a woman of knowledge, of understanding, who is a wise woman, is going to do. She's going to maintain good health, because she knows if she's no longer around, she's going to be a burden to her children and basically be a burden to her husband, because she's no longer around to help maintain that house, to keep it going. Okay, so an honorable woman or a wise woman is going to make sure her health is maintained so she can be up to standards to be a contributor to the household, so the household can progress. Okay, so this is too why this woman right here is in the position in front of her house. She's letting it be known that this is her house that she helped build. Okay, she's making sure this house is run appropriately, and she's not going to let nothing stop the house from growing. Okay, now we go to the next slide. So this is more examples on a woman who buildeth her house examples. Okay, so it says a woman buildeth her house examples continued. It says She makes sure maintenance of the home gets solved. She makes sure the bills and debts are caught up before spending a lot of money on entertainment or clothing. She makes sure her house is in order to Yahweh's commandments. She knows how to save and invest her money to provide for the house and children for their inheritance. You see this, Israel? So again, a wise woman who built up her house, right, under the understanding of righteousness, she's going to make sure the maintenance of the home gets solved. Meaning, if she sees repairs need to get done around the house, she's going to make sure she puts the money or uses the money of her husband to make sure that issues around the house gets solved or it gets handled, right? If there's a water leak in the house, she knows, okay, I'm going to give money to my husband so he can contact such and such to make sure the water stops leaking, or to fix a certain electrical problem around the house. She's going to contribute to getting those payments of maintenance to get solved around the house, right? She's not going to put all the pressure on the husband to only be the one that's only paying towards getting the maintenance solved in the house. She's going to make sure it's a balance of understanding between husband and wife contributing to maintaining the house. Okay? It says she makes sure the bills and debts are caught up before spending a lot of money or entertainment or clothing. So it's like this woman who's a righteous woman, she's going to make sure the bills are caught up. She's going to make sure the debts are resolved before spending a lot of money on material things, right? Or besides just spending money on stupid things that really doesn't need to be contributed until the debts are caught up. See, she's going to be a wise woman to know, I got to take care of these debts, because a wise woman knows, like, these debts got to get resolved. So I'm going to help my husband solve his debts. I'm going to help also myself solve these debts. So this is what a wise and honorable woman is looking towards, because she wants to, of course, have fun, have a good life. And she knows debts have to get handled. Bills have to get taken care of if you want to have a peaceful life to a certain degree. Okay? It says, she makes sure her house is in order to Yahweh's commandments. So now this woman, who is the wife, is going to make sure now this house is operating under Yahweh's commandments. So this woman is now going to do what? She's going to make sure her children are in order, right? She's going to make sure her daughter is wearing modest apparel, right? She's going to make sure her daughter is reserving herself for a husband. She's also going to make sure her son is operating in the right spirit of obeying his father, right? So again, the wife is going to make sure the house is ran appropriately. And the wife is also going to make sure her husband is well maintained to the point where he's on track to stay consistent in the Hebrew truth, right? So that means the wife has to do exceptional work to make sure her husband doesn't fall astray into going into worldly things, right? Her whole objective is to make sure her husband stays solid and has good interest towards her. So she has to do good things towards her husband so he can stay consistent in the right spirit of the Most High. So these are all good attributes to allow a man to stay consistent in being with this particular woman, because he knows she's a good woman, and a good woman is very hard to find, especially in these last days, right? So this is why women supposed to build their house according to righteousness if they want a successful marriage or a successful house to be built, okay? It says she knows how to save and invest her money to provide for the house and children for their inheritance. So this particular woman, who is an honorable woman and respectful woman, she knows how to save the money. She knows how to put the money to the side for retirement. She knows how to put the money to the side to save for certain things that she desires. She's not going to be willing to get into all these type of debts with credit card bills, right? Because she knows how to save. She knows how to put money to the side to pay for certain things. And it says, and invest her money, right? She knows how to invest in stock, right? She knows how to invest in certain things so it can be beneficial for the long run for the house. So the house can always have money coming in. It says, and children for their inheritance. So she also knows how to invest in her children, right? She knows how to invest in her children about as far as investing, as far as setting them up to learn certain skills, to go to school for certain things. She also knows how to have money available for them at the time of need. And also she's getting something put in writing as far as an inheritance, just in case something happens to her or something happens to her husband, the children will be well maintained. She's putting things in order. Okay, she's setting up a will. She's setting up an inheritance, something that needs to be passed down to the children. Okay, she's not leaving her children empty-handed, or also she's not leaving her husband empty-handed if something happens. Okay, everything is done decently in order with this particular woman, so her house can continue to grow. Okay, as you can see in this picture right here, you see an honorable woman letting it be known that she can manage her bills, manage investments, or manage and maintain order in the house by showing her husband that she's qualified and getting things done as well. She's not putting all the pressure on the husband only. She is creating that atmosphere of being a helpmate to the house. Okay. So now we go to the next slide. It says women who don't agree with the buildeth the house concept. So this slide is going to the women who do not agree with the buildeth the house concept. This is the foolish woman understanding, where we get into the book of Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1 understanding on those foolish women who do not agree with the buildeth the house concept, and they only are the ones that's going to pull down the house. They're going to bring that house down because they do not like order. They do not like Yahweh's commandments. So this is that understanding in this slide right here. It says women who don't like to cook. So again, this is the understanding of women who don't agree with the buildeth the house concept. It says women who don't like to cook. Women who don't like the 50-50 concept when it involves a husband and wife relationship. Women who don't like to clean. Women who don't take care of their children. Women who do not make sure the home is well maintained. Women who are not money manageable with their finances. You see this, Israel? So as you can see, women who do not build their house according to Yahweh's righteousness, guess what? They don't like to cook. These women do not like to cook. And that's what a lot of Hebrew brothers are facing. A lot of women that do not like to cook. They just like to go out to eat all the time. They like to what? Splurge money, right? They like to spend money, but they want a guy to do all the spending, right? And they just bring themselves, right? They don't want to spend their own money. They want to spend the man's money. This is what type of woman you're getting into this understanding right here. These type of women are wicked as hell. Especially a woman that don't know how to cook. That means she has not put herself in position to get a husband. So these type of women are not marriage minded. Okay. Women who don't like the 50-50 concept when it involves a husband and wife relationship. So the 50-50 concept would require that woman to now what? Contribute to basically spending her money. See, wicked women, they're not going to do that. They're going to hold on to their own money and not contribute to the house. This is what you have in many cases in these relationships between husband and wife, where they expect the man to be the 100% provider and a woman can just use her money for what she wants to be used on, right? It's not really focused on the house. She putting all the pressure on the man. And this is why a lot of times these men go off and deal with other women. Because they're not getting the love and respect from their own wife. Okay? So that's missing in a lot of relationships. Okay, it says women who don't like to clean. So a lot of these women don't like to clean. They complain and everything. Women who don't take care of their children. So women who don't like to build up their house under Yahweh's righteousness, they don't like to take care of their children. That's why they usually have their kids staying at grandparents' house while these women go off and do what they do in the streets, right? They go out, party, play games all day. This is what those type of women do because they're not trying to take care of their children. It says women who do not make sure the home is well maintained. They do not care about the maintenance of their home. They will let their home collapse, meaning they will let their home not get fixed on certain cases, right? They know things need to get fixed around the home, but they themselves will not take the initiative to put money towards their home to get it fixed. It's because these particular women are lazy, right? They don't really care about their home. They so busy worried about what other people's homes are, right? They want to be a part of that certain rich lifestyle where they have a butler or they have a maid scenario, right? So they're not really focused on maintaining their own home. Okay, so this is all examples of wicked women primarily. It says that women who are not money manageable with their finances. So these particular women are women that are not money manageable, meaning they don't know how to manage their finances. They don't know how to make investments. They don't know how to spend their money properly. All they know how to do is just spend money on material things, right? But in general, they are in large amounts of debts, right? They don't plan on paying none of those debts back. They have bad credit, right? They have things put in place for them not to care about their personal finances because they are very unresponsible. Okay, because they're not responsible individuals. So these are the type of women that pulleth down the house. Okay, so you Hebrew men that's out there, you have to pick women that don't follow these characteristics, as you can see. Because if you're following women with any of these characteristics, chances are she's going to bring your house down. Okay? Because she's struggling with these things. She has to be the opposite of this particular problem right here. She has to be the opposite. She has to be a woman that buildeth the house, not the woman that brings the house down. These are just examples of a woman bringing the house down. As you can see in this particular picture right here, this woman just throwing money in the air. Like she don't really care. She don't care about the house. She just care about just spending money, having a good time. Okay? These are the type of women you have to avoid, you Hebrew brothers. Okay, it says in the next slide, women who don't agree with the build of the house concept continue. So this is a continuation of women who do not agree with the build of the house concept. Okay? It says women who don't believe in keeping Yahweh's commandments. It says women who commit adultery, women who post revealing body pictures on social media to attract ungodly men. It says women who are looking for a sugar daddy or are known gold diggers looking for simps. And it also says women who don't take care of their own health. So again, you'll see a lot of sisters with this type of attributes, right? You'll see a lot of sisters who have this type of spirit of understanding. And this is not the righteous type of spirit of a person that's going to build a house. This is the type of spirit that's going to bring the house down. Because primarily these type of spirits of women, They don't agree with keeping Yahweh's commandments. That's why you see them going to the club, partying, dressing all sexy for other men, right? They're not focusing on building a house with any man. They just focus on just having a good time. Women who commit adultery. These women are not focused on building a family because they are committing willful adultery. Adultery brings chaos. So this particular woman is not focused on building her house with her husband because she's busy focused on getting her rocks off with another man, right? Or just sleeping around with different men off the thrill of lust or off the thrill of being bored in her current relationship with her husband. So a lot of these women go off on the basis of emotion, okay? They go off emotion to commit adultery. It says women who post revealing body pictures on social media to attract ungodly men. Because a lot of these women who always post revealing body pictures on social media, they're really not focusing on the house with their husband. They're really focusing on the desires to be lustful, to have a desire towards other men, right? So again, she's leaving the house that she's building with her husband stranded because all her attention is going to social media. Okay, she's not even focused on the house that she currently lives in. Women who are looking for a sugar daddy or are known gold diggers looking for simps, because many of these women who are known gold diggers or looking for sugar daddies, they don't know how to build on a house, period. All they know how to do is just be entertainers when they involved in relationships, right? They just go off of having a good time concept. They're going off the concept of being a user. These women are known to be users, right? They're only dealing with men that got money primarily, or their desire is to get with men for money. If they don't get a guy that has the money, then they just with that guy temporarily until they find the guy with the money, and then they're going to leave the guy that really don't have all the money, right? These are the women that cannot build a house, period. Okay, because they're going to build that house based upon wickedness. Because their whole objective is to get money, to get paid, right? Look at these examples right here of the example of the women that have a gold digger mentality. This is just an example of women that cannot build a house on Yahweh's command. These are the type of women that destroy the house. Look at these examples on these particular videos right here.
What type of guys you are like you into?
You gonna spoil me, take me on trips, buy me stuff. I want a maid. I want all this glitz and glamour and like wake up and do what I want to do.
Wow, that's a lot. So what you bring to the table though?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Me.
You. And that's it.
Yo.
So you want a guy to bring all that while you're bringing like nothing?
I like niggas with money. I like niggas with cars like this. I like niggas with jewelry. I like drug dealers. I like scammers. And I like entrepreneur niggas. Cause you know, y'all do y'all thing. You know what I'm saying? You got some money. So even though you might not look like, you know what I'm saying?
What you mean I don't look like I got money though? What you, so if a nigga got a 9 to 5, you can't fuck with him?
Fuck with him? A 9 to 5? I don't even work a 9 to 5.
What's wrong with a nigga who make an honest living, who goes to work and takes care of his family? What's wrong with that though?
I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that for your family, and you can go ahead and bring home that little $1,400 every 2 weeks, $1,300 every 2 weeks. You can bring that shit home, but it ain't gonna work with me. So I'm gonna go after niggas who got way more than me and all that. Cause what the fuck I'm gonna look like fucking with a nigga that's right here, and I'm fucking right here too. No, you need to be here and bring me here with you, and then it's good. Other than that,
But what are you bringing to the table for this nigga?
My motherfucking self. That's what I'm bringing.
You know, we discussed like expectations, and I told him my expectations when it comes to a man. I was like, my man has to protect and provide. Like every man I've been with took care of me. Every single man I've been with or whatever. And he was like, you know, baby, that's fine because that's the type of man I am anyway. So I'm like, all right, cool. And mind y'all, when I was single, I took care of everything by myself. I even bought my own house. I took care of my kids. It wasn't on no government assistance. Like I held it down. So if I can do that, then I feel like my man should be able to do that. So he came home and he was like, you know, babe, I lost my job. I'm like, all right, cool. So a month later, like the bills, it was time for the bills or whatever. And I'm like, the bills due, babe, or whatever. And he was like, okay, I'm not working. And I'm just, in a month, like, it's all kind of hustles. You could have been doing something or whatever. So I told him, I said, look, if I pay these bills, are you going to pay me the money back? This man had the nerve to tell me, why should I pay my wife back for paying our bills? I told this man from day one, my money is my money and his money is our money. Why should I spend my money paying the bills? Like, no, he should have paid me back. So that's when I decided, like, I can't be with this man no more. So I had sex with his homeboy. Like, we all cool. I texted his homeboy or whatever. We went together. We left. I met up with him. And we was chilling, we was drinking or whatever. And I started venting. Like, I started getting emotional. One thing led to the next. I did not purposely mean to do what I did with his friend. But things happen. Like, y'all understand what I'm going through. So he didn't stick to what he agreed to. Like, that's not love. If you love me, you gonna pay them bills. You gonna do what you told me you was gonna do as a man. Like, everybody coming for me and stuff like that, and it's not okay. It's not okay.
So as you can see, Israel, these women are wicked as hell, right? So these are the type of women you cannot build a house with, you Hebrew brothers. You Hebrew brothers cannot build houses with gold digger women concept. It's not possible. So you Hebrew men, stop picking these women based upon lust, because that's why you picking these women, because you're lusting for these women. But these women will bring your whole infrastructure down because they're not right in the mind. Okay, you have to pick a godly woman, just like the Bible says you're supposed to do. You Hebrew brothers, you're supposed to pick a woman not after lust, but after the understanding of her being a righteous woman. Point blank, period. It says women who don't take care of their own health. So in this next understanding, it said women who don't take care of their own health. So many cases, a lot of women, you see women oversized, overweight, not really taking care of their health. You can't build primarily with a woman like this because she may not be around too long, right? That means all the pressure is going to be on you now, right, as a man. So you Hebrew women, you have to maintain your health. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself so you can be an asset unto the man. But in this understanding, these women don't care about their health. All they care about is getting a lot of food, living their best life, not really caring about going to the doctors, not worried about taking care of their hygiene, not really worried about taking care of themselves. So this is all the problems that women who don't care about their house are struggling with, right? They have to overcome all these things so they can be a good asset unto a husband. See, these are fundamentals that the older women are supposed to be teaching the younger women, right? The older women are supposed to teach the younger women not to be like this, right? So women, you're not supposed to be like this, right? But again, these women who do not care about the house do not care about maintaining their own health. So if they don't care about maintaining their own health, they dang sure not going to be caring about helping maintain the house of a man or helping maintain the house of the children. They're not going to really care about those individuals like that because they don't even care about their own health. So these are all cases of understanding of a woman who don't know how to build a house appropriately. Okay? So as you see, women who do not believe in keeping Yahweh's commandments are basically going to be battling with these type of spirits right here, as you see. Okay? They're going to be battling with these type of spirits because they don't agree with Yahweh's commandments. And this is all red flag to you Hebrew brothers trying to find a wife out here. Many cases, you Hebrew brothers are finding women that are battling these type of spirits right here on this slide right here. Okay, so you Hebrew brothers, you need to wake up, man. Stop following women with these type of spirits. And like I said, you're falling in love with women looking like this over here because you're going off of lust, right? You're going off the physical body shape, the looks, right? Now you get with these ladies, guess what? You're facing all type of problems with these women entertaining these type of spirits over here because these women have not proven themselves to be what? Godly women. You're going solely off a base of lust. So you can't do that, you Hebrew brothers. You have to follow women that's keeping Yahweh's commandments. Point blank, period. Okay, so this is another slide on women who don't agree with the build of the house concept continue. It says they don't agree to submit to their husband and love being quarrelsome to others. They don't like to dress modestly. They don't care to lead by example to other women. They only care about themselves rather than others. They love to follow worldly things rather than follow the Bible. Okay, so as you can see, Israel, as you can see in this picture right here, you see a woman being quarrelsome with her husband, right? And this is a no-no according to the Bible. Women are not supposed to be quarrelsome. They're not supposed to be argumentative. Okay? They're not supposed to do these things. That's all considered a sin according to the Bible. I mean, this is what a lot of Black, Hispanic, Native Indian women are battling with, this type of spirit of being quarrelsome to their husband or being quarrelsome to others. Whether it's on their job, whether it's in their social life with family and friends. A lot of these women are struggling with the argumentative, quarrelsome spirit. Okay, so these are the women that cannot build a house on Yahweh's righteousness in the right spirit. See, they have to repent from being quarrelsome in order for them to build their house on Yahweh's righteousness. Okay, it says they don't like to dress modestly. So a lot of cases, these type of women that do not like to build a house on Yahweh's righteousness, they don't like to dress in modest apparel, right? They like to dress sexy, right? They like to be open to public, to care about the interests of the world. They have low self-esteem, and they love to get their validation from other people in the world versus from their husband, right? So these women who only values looking a certain type of way based upon what everybody else want them to look like, you can't build a house on that understanding. You have to build a house on Yahweh's commandments, and the woman has to be able to build her house under her husband's order. A lot of these women who do not like to dress modestly are not obedient to their husbands. They're not women that are submissive to their husbands. Okay? They don't care to lead by example to other women. So these particular women don't care about leading by example to the other women or younger women. They only care about themselves. These particular women are very selfish. Okay, so they don't even raise their daughters right. They don't raise their children right. They don't put themselves in a good example to be looked upon as a respectable woman in public. These are the type of spirits a lot of women are battling with. They only care about themselves rather than others. That's basically kind of like the same concept, but they don't care on how they dress. They don't care how they look to public. They don't care about nobody else but themselves, right? So that's what it's getting into, okay? They only look to themselves only. It says they love to follow worldly things rather than follow the Bible. So again, they're all about worldly things. You'll see them getting high, smoking, right? You'll see them going to girls' trips, right? You'll see them doing the festivals of the world, right? You'll see them doing the gay pride festivals. You'll see them going to all these religious practices. You'll see them engaging in ungodly behavior, off the basis of how they feel, because they don't agree with the Bible. A lot of these women who do not agree with the Bible are battling these type of spirits. Okay? All these things are spiritual. All these things are spiritual, right? again, if you're battling these type of spirits, you in the midst of sin. Point blank, period. Because if you don't care to lead by example to other women, or if you only care about yourself, you don't care for others, that's not the love of the Most High. Okay? That's all sinful behavior and sinful lifestyle. Okay? So a lot of you Hebrew brothers are marrying these type of women that only follow the things of the world. They don't pick up a Bible and read it. They don't want nothing to do with the Bible. I mean, this is the type of spirits that this type of behavior pattern is going to come with, based upon the Hebrew women, who are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian women, are battling with, because they're not reading the Bible. They're not following the Bible. So the spirits understand they're going to be battling with is these type of spirits. Point blank, period. So now we go to the next slide. It says biblical femininity example. It says biblical femininity example. Okay, it says Proverbs chapter 31 verse 10. It says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. So you see this, Israel? See, a virtuous woman is very hard to find, especially in these last days. That's why the verse says, for her price is far above rubies, because rubies is high in value. So just like a virtuous woman is high in value because she's very rare. It's not common to see a virtuous woman in society, especially in these last days. Okay, because women are not putting themselves out there to be a virtuous woman. Mostly women are putting themselves out there to be whores and harlots. Most of the time these women want to be masculine women, right? They're not putting themselves out there to be a virtuous woman. They rather put themselves to be above the man, right? That's totally off. So you have a lot of masculine, angry, quarrelsome, manly women walking around here in these last days because why? They chose poorly when it comes to men. So now they're taking their anger and frustration out on society by just focusing on being entertained with foolishness. See, a virtuous woman is going to choose wisely in the men of their choosing. A virtuous woman is going to lead by example and show her righteousness to the people, right? To show that she's a virtuous woman. And like I said, this is just examples of virtuous woman appearance. They're going to have a different appearance than the rest of the women that's out here in the world. They're going to be covered up to a certain degree, right? They're not going to be out there showing their body to everybody. Their concern is building the house with their husband and children only, and also having a good relationship with the Most High by what? Keeping His commandments. That's their only concern. Okay? But women of the world, their concern is worldly things. Okay, so it says virtuous definition, because it says in Proverbs chapter 31 verse 10, who can find a virtuous woman? So let's see what the word virtuous means. It says virtuous definition. It says conforming to moral and ethical principles, morally excellent, and it says upright. So conforming to moral and ethical principles, morally excellent and upright. So when it's going to conforming to moral, when we go to the Bible understanding, it's talking about commandments. A woman who is respectful to Yahweh's commandments. Okay, so that's what it's getting into. A woman who cares about morality. See, a lot of modern women of today do not care about morality. That's why they sleeping with all these different men all over the place. That's why a lot of women sleep with other women all over the place. A lot of these women don't care how they dress. A lot of women don't care which God to serve out here. They go into any religious practices that may have the appearance of some good, but they avoid the Bible. So a lot of these women are battling these type of spirits. So to tap into the right spirit, they need to go follow the women of the Bible. So the women of the Bible had the spirit of being virtuous. Okay? So these are the Bible women understanding, right? They carry themselves with a different type of spirit than, of course, the modern women of today. So this is the spirit of today's sisters need to follow after. They need to follow the women of the Bible. Point blank, period. It says examples of a not virtuous type of woman. So these are just two types of women who are not virtuous. Okay. It says entertainment women in the industry. So entertainment women in the industry, they're not virtuous women. So the women of the entertainment industry, who are the blacks, Hispanic, Native Indians of our nation, who are the Israelites, the ones that are in the industry, they are not virtuous women, right? They are worldly women, right? They care about the things of the world, right? That's why they can, boast about how much money they have, boast about how many dudes they slept with. They can boast about how large their butt is. They can boast about, what a man did for them and all this other type stuff. They can boast about how many rewards they got, right? So again, they are all about the worldly concept. They're not centered on Yahweh's commandments. And that's what you have primarily in the industry with these particular women. Just like here, you got Megan Thee Stallion, you got Ice Spice, and you got Nicki Minaj, then you got Cardi B right here. These women are entertainment women in the industry. These women don't care about Yahweh's commandments. Okay, so these women are not virtuous type of women. But again, you have Hebrew brothers lusting for these women. Okay, and you have these replicas of women walk around this earth trying to imitate these women. They're trying to imitate the look of these women. These women are full of sin. Okay, and they have a huge judgment coming for them if they don't repent. Point blank, period. So our women don't need to follow the pattern of these particular women right here. Because these women are Jezebel spirits. They're wicked as hell. Okay? Because two of these women, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, they are married women, but they are not acting like they're married women. Okay? These women are known to be women that's parading their bodies on social media, causing people to lust after them, which is going into sin. Okay? And also these women are not good role models for the youth. Okay? And these other two women, they are not married legally, but in the day, they're not putting themselves out there to be married because they're putting themselves out there to be whores and harlots. But these two women portray themselves to be whores and harlots, but they're married to men. They're hypocrites. So these particular women are putting out whorish understanding to the world, and they know it's not catered to nothing good. But they do it because they can make money off of it, which is evil. It says over here we have religious women in the churches / idol worship. So another form of a not virtuous type of woman will be the women that's in these churches, right? These churches of the religion world. The churches of idol worship. These women are not virtuous women because the virtuous women, according to the Bible, going to know and follow Yahweh's commandments. And Yahweh's commandments is against idol worshiping. See, these women, the blacks, Hispanic, Native Indian women who are in these churches, who are in these religions, who are in the entertainment industry, who are in the idol worshiping understanding, these women are not virtuous type of women. Okay, these women are full of sin. Right? These women are very masculine. These women want to get the praise and the glory. Their concern is not Yahweh's commandments. Their concern is not Yahshua the Mashiach, the black Messiah. Their concern is only themselves. And that's why you'll see in these religious churches, you'll see a lot of single black, Hispanic, Native Indian women in these churches. That's not the spirit of the Most High because a woman was created for a man. Point blank, period. So if you got a religious institution or practice only centered around women, you know it's a problem. Okay, you know it's a problem, because if you only got an institution that's only centralized around primarily having predominantly women involved, right, and you don't see no man there, it's all red flags. Okay, because many Hebrew brothers are marrying these women that's in these churches or in these religions, and they're facing hell every day because of it, because these men are not keeping the commandments themselves, right? So if a man keeping the commandments, he's gonna know not to get with no religious Black, Hispanic, Native Indian woman. Okay, a man that's repentant, he know, hey, I gotta get a Hebrew woman that's in the right spirit, that's keeping these law, statutes, and commandments. Point blank, period. But these are just examples of course, women who are not virtuous. Okay, so again, these are women not to follow. Okay, you Hebrew sisters. Okay, so this is an example of a woman who feareth the Most High Yah. Okay, this is a woman that operated in the right spirit, and her name was Susanna. Okay, and this is the understanding. It says, righteous women feareth Yahweh. So this is the understanding of one example of a righteous woman who feared the Most High, meaning she believed in keeping Yahweh's commandments. Susanna chapter 1 verse 1. Okay, and also the book of Susanna is in the book of the Apocrypha. Okay, it says Susanna chapter 1 verse 1. It says, there dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim. Susanna chapter 1 verse 2, Apocrypha. Okay, it says, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Cheselis, a very fair woman, and one that feared Yahweh. So you see this, Israel? So it was a Hebrew brother that was dwelling in Babylon, right? And it says, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna. Okay? And notice this Hebrew brother chose a woman that was a Hebrew woman, right? He didn't choose a woman that was a Gentile. He chose a Hebrew woman. It says the daughter of Cheselis, a very fair woman. So this particular man named Joachim chose a woman that was good looking, right? Meaning she took care of herself. Her appearance was on point, right? And one that feared Yahweh. So Joachim chose a woman who was attractive. He chose a woman who also kept Yahweh's commandments. You see this, Israel? So Joachim did not just choose Susanna because she was good looking. No, he chose her based upon her looks, and also based upon primarily, most importantly, he chose her based upon her keeping the commandments. She feared Yahweh. See, that's what a lot of Hebrew brothers are not doing. They're choosing women solely based on looks. So us Hebrew brothers, we supposed to be choosing women based upon them keeping the commandments primarily. Okay? Because a woman can look good all day, but guess what? If she ain't keeping these commandments, you can't build with that woman. Okay? You're going to always hit a brick wall with that concept of just choosing women based upon looks. You can't do that. You have to choose women based upon primarily if they're keeping Yahweh's commandments. Then we go into the aspects of the looks. The looks is an addition of the assentive, but we got to go off the basis of if this woman is an honorable woman operating in the right spirit of the Most High Yah righteousness. Okay? Overall. That's the centerpiece of understanding of building a house with a woman if she's applying by the commandments. So we're going to get the understanding on what it means if a person feared the Most High or feared the Lord. What is this getting into? It says fear of Yahweh, biblical meaning. Okay, in the next slide, it says Psalms chapter 112 verse 1. It says, praise ye Yahweh. Blessed is the man that feareth Yahweh, that delighteth greatly in his commandments. So if a person who fears the Most High, they're going to delight greatly in keeping Yahweh's commandments. But see, a lot of these Hebrew women, they don't delight in keeping Yahweh's commandments in these last days. That's why they're not doing it, because they don't take the commandments as a delight. See, a virtuous woman, a woman that fears Yahweh. So a woman who is virtuous and a woman that fears the Most High, she's going to delight in keeping Yahweh's commandments. She's going to rejoice in keeping Yahweh's commandments. Okay? Wicked women, they don't delight in keeping Yahweh's commandments. That's why they don't keep Yahweh's commandments. They feel as though keeping Yahweh's commandments is burdensome. Right? They believe keeping Yahweh's commandments is restricting them from certain things. They don't like that. But a virtuous woman loves to be restricted on doing certain things because it keeps them centered in having mercy. It keeps them centered on being at peace. See, worldly women can't grasp that concept of being restricted on doing certain things because the Bible restricts our people from what? Engaging in sinful lifestyle. Worldly women engage in sinful lifestyle willingly. That's the difference. Deuteronomy chapter 10 verse 12. It says, "And now Israel, what doeth Yahweh thy Elohim require of thee, but to fear Yahweh thy Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul." So you see this, Israel? It says, "And now Israel, what doeth Yahweh thy Elohim require of thee?" Because Yahweh requires something of us, right? He requires something of us to do. But to fear Yahweh thy Elohim is going to explain what it means to fear the Most High. It says to walk in all his ways and to love him and to serve Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul. So to fear the Most High, we're going to walk in all the Most High Yah's ways. We're going to do what he tells us to do. And it's going to explain further what it means to do what Yahweh tells us to do. How do we do what Yahweh tells us to do? It's going to explain in Deuteronomy chapter 10 verse 13. "To keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good." So again, this is how you're going to walk in Yahweh's ways. This is how you're going to be in the good spirit of the Most High. This is how you fear the Most High. Right? It says to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes. So we supposed to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statute, which Moses, of course, in general, commanded the Israelites to do based upon Yahweh's commandment, right? "Which I command thee this day for thy good." It says to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statute, which I command thee this day for thy good, because it is a good thing to keep Yahweh's commandments, right? Worldly women, right, of our nation, the Black, Hispanic, Native Indian women, the worldly understanding of them, they don't agree with keeping Yahweh's commandments, right? So they're not in that understanding. But the virtuous woman, the one that feareth the Most High, she's going to operate in the right spirit. She's going to take a delight in keeping Yahweh's commandments. Okay? It says to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good, because it's a good thing to keep Yahweh's commandments because it prevents you from getting certain judgment. It prevents you from living a sinful lifestyle. See, this is what a virtuous woman who feared the Most High understand. See, worldly women, right, they don't understand that concept. They believe being worldly is going to equal success. They believe being worldly is going to equal things good in life. No, these sinful lifestyles are going to equal up to death. Right? Or problems or judgments. Because you're getting these judgments from the wrath of the Most High Yah. Because you're not operating in the right spirit of his righteousness. This is why you're getting gunned down, you Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian women. Right? This is why these problems of abuse are occurring in your life. Because you're not operating in the right spirit of Yahweh's commandments. This is why problems are always following you, you Hebrew women. Because you're not operating in the right spirit of his righteousness by keeping his commandments. So this is what a virtuous woman is going to do. Operate in the right spirit by walking in all the ways of the Most High. That's when you're going to get that goodness to be established in your life for your household, for your house to progress, because you operate in the right spirit of Yahweh's righteousness. Okay? So it is benefits on keeping Yahweh's commandments, contrary to what the world is saying, because the world is blinded in wickedness. And they don't understand that all wickedness leads to destruction. See, following righteousness equals to success. See, that's what a virtuous woman understands. She know, hey, if I keep these commandments, I help build this house with my husband and with my kids, I'm going to be blessed. See, worldly women believe they're going to be blessed living in sin. Because they focusing on partying, having a good time, living the best life now. But they're not looking long term down the road. They're looking short term. Short term, yeah, everything may seem good, but long term, you're going to face problems. Long term, you're going to face hurt, pain, or even death, or sickness, right? Or loneliness, because a lot of women have put themselves in bad situations and now they're dying alone because they don't have a man there to help support them in these hard economical times because they chose worldly things. This Bible teaches our women to choose honorable things as far as catered to keeping Yahweh's commandments. Okay, it says, sign of women in the right spirit of Yahweh. So this is going to be that sign that you Hebrew women have to know how to operate in the right spirit of the Most High Yah. This is also going to be the understanding that Hebrew men need to know how, if you know if your wife or a potential wife is operating in the right spirit of the Most High Yah, based upon this particular verse right here. Okay, so this is the sign of women in the right spirit of Yahweh. Ecclesiasticus chapter 26 verse 14. And of course, Ecclesiasticus is going into the book of the Apocrypha. Okay. It says, a silent and loving woman is a gift of Yahweh, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. So as you can see, it says a silent and loving woman is the gift of Yahweh. So the gift of Yahweh to give to a man, right? A woman of his understanding, a woman that's willing to listen, a woman that's willing to humble her spirit down to be quiet at times, right? There is nothing so much worth, because in general, women are mainly more prone to be very talkative, very argumentative. So it's a blessing and a gift that Yahweh gives you a woman that's willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to grow with a man. As a mind well instructed, meaning a woman is now, she's willing to hear good instruction from her husband. She's willing to hear good instruction from others, right? She's not the woman that, hey, she got all the answers. No, she's willing to listen. She's coming with a more quiet spirit, right? She's coming with a more humbleness. So this is what makes a woman rare. This is what makes a woman a gift of Yahweh. She's willing to put the things that she believes is right to the side and get to the understanding where she's respectful to her husband, who is now her leader. Okay, she's now knowing, hey, I'm not a single woman no more. I'm a wife now. I got to humble myself down. I got to submit to this man. That's just what it is. So this picture over here is just an example of honorable women on what they will look like, because they are respectful unto themselves. They wear their head covering. They're looking modestly. Okay, they're not looking like the women of the world. They're not all about showing their outer appearance. They're about humbleness. That's the whole purpose of the hair wraps as well, to show humbleness, right? Covered up. See, a woman that's covered up primarily is showing that she has a man, or she's looking towards having a husband to wife her. Okay, so that's the difference from worldly women. Worldly women got to have all the big hair. The hair got to be all over the place. You know, she got to put herself out there. A humble woman with the right loving spirit that's more quiet and low key, she's going to be more covered up. Okay, she has more beauty than the women of the world, because the women of the world, they're not mainly natural. Okay, spiritual women operating in the right spirit, they're mainly more natural. Okay, it says righteous silent women example. So this is going to be the example of what a righteous woman, when she is silent, is getting into. It's not necessarily, when it says silent, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's not talking. Okay, that's not what that's saying, because most brothers would take that verse right here and say, see, she doesn't talk when it says silent. No, that's not what it's talking about. It's going to explain in its understanding in the next slide what the word silent is getting into when it's catered to a woman being silent. Okay, Okay, and the next slide says righteous, silent women examples. Okay, it says not being quarrelsome to others and not being quarrelsome with husband. So that's a form of an example of a righteous, silent woman. She's not quarrelsome. She's not argumentative with her husband. Respectful to others and respectful to husband. So she's respectful to others and respectful to her husband. Okay. It says dresses modestly. So this is a form of being a silent woman. She has these characteristics. She dresses modestly. She's not showing everything. She's quiet, kept. She stays mainly to herself, right? It's a willingness to learn from others and willingness to learn from husbands. So she's willing to be educated by her man, which is her husband. Because a lot of times, many women that are not silent, loving women, they are mainly more masculine. They don't like to be taught by any man, right? They have to be the one that's in charge. That is not a righteous, silent woman. That's a worldly understanding of a woman that's operating in a more masculine spirit. But righteous, silent women, they operate in the willingness to learn from others and willingness to learn from husband, or their willingness to learn from their husband, period. Not an attention seeker and very low key, because again, these women don't desire to be in the front. They desire to be behind their husband. They don't believe in equality between male and female. Okay, they believe that they are under their husband. They have a different type of spirit. As you can see in this picture right here, this woman has a different type of quiet spirit. And the man in this particular picture appears to be happy, right? He's looking honorable. He's looking like, hey, I got a good woman right here. I don't have to worry about this woman calling me out on certain things. I don't have to worry about this woman beat me down on certain things. She's respectful. She's coming with a more quiet spirit. This is what makes a woman high value on the market, when she carries these type of quality spirit. These women carrying these type of spirits is very rare. Very rare. Okay. Okay, and then also this is some examples of women who love Yahweh. Okay, so this is the type of spirit our sisters need to be in. Okay, the daughters of Zion need to always operate in these type of spirits. Okay, so you Hebrew women, you definitely need to get your notes out on this one. Okay, this is an example of women who love Yahweh. It says, fear the Most High and His commandments, loves their family, children, and loves their husband. Lead by example of following Yahweh's commandments. Focus mainly on inner beauty rather than outer beauty. Do not follow the things of the world. And it says, wears head covering when praying to Yahweh. So these are good attributes and qualities that women who love Yahweh are going to have. Okay, they fear the Most High and His judgment. So they're not going to do certain things that's going to put them to death. They're not going to do certain things that's going to give them hard times. Okay, because they care about Yahweh's commandments. Loves their family, children, and loves their husband. So they're going to do the things to make sure the house is built on Yahweh's righteousness, so they can be honorable in front of their husband, children, and family. And okay, it says, lead by example of following Yahweh's commandments. Okay, that's based upon them showing the younger generation or showing others how to keep Yahweh's commandments, right? By their presentation on how they carry themselves day by day. It says focus mainly on inner beauty rather than outer beauty. So these women are going to focus mainly on their inner beauty, their inner person, meaning they're going to be mainly focusing on changing from within themselves to stay consistent in being in the right spirit of Yahweh's righteousness. They're not really focused on what the worldly women concept are doing. See, the worldly women concept is focused on outer beauty. They want to get the big breasts. They want to get the big butt. They want to change their hair color. They want to change their eye color. They want to have long extension nails. They want to have crazy looking eyelashes, right? They want to change the color of their skin. This is what worldly women are mainly focused on, the outer appearance. But the Hebrew women that's operating in the right spirit of Yahweh's righteousness, they're going to be catered to changing from within. They're going to be focusing mainly on getting in the right spirit of the Most High by overcoming certain sins. They're going to stay consistent in learning this Hebrew truth. That's what an honorable, respectful woman is going to be mainly focusing on. Okay? The next one says, do not follow the things of the world. So like I said, these righteous women are going to be focused mainly on Yahweh's commandments all day, every day. They're not going to be trying to have girls' trips. They're not going to be trying to have all these things of the world activities going on, which you see modern women are doing. Okay, these worldly women not caring about Yahweh's commandments. You know, as you can see, they having a good time, right, in sin. But the righteous women, they're going to have a good time in keeping Yahweh's commandments. Point blank, period. It wears head covering when praying to Yahweh. So these women, as you can see in this example right here, when they're going to pray to the Most High, they're going to have their head covered, right? That's a respectful thing and honorable thing towards the Most High, right? Wicked women or worldly women, they don't pray to the Most High with their head covered because they don't agree with that understanding, because they're doing their own thing. Worldly women do their own thing. Worldly women are independent of a man. Worldly women are independent of Yahweh's commandments, right? But righteous women, they want to keep Yahweh's commandment. Righteous women are okay with submitting to Yahweh's order as far as praying to the Most High with their head covered. Honorable women or virtuous women, women that fear the Most High, they're going to be respectful, right? They're not going to be focused on going to the religious institutions where they can pray to God with their head uncovered. That's going off. See, that's what they be doing in them Christian churches. These women, they don't fear the Most High. That's why they go to these churches on the wrong day, which is Sunday, right? They go to church on Sunday worship. Sunday worship is not in this Bible. So these women don't fear the Most High. So this is why you Hebrew brothers married to the wrong type of woman, because y'all are picking women that don't fear the Most High. See, righteous women, they going to know, hold up, the Sabbath day is Yahweh's day, not no Sunday worship. Those women that go to church on Sunday, they be trying to pray to the Most High with their head uncovered. That's going off, right? But those pastors there at that church, they're not going to tell these women, hey, that's not how you pray to the Most High, because these pastors are corrupt. And this is what those worldly women are doing, going to those religious institutions, trying to pray to the Most High with their head uncovered, because they believe they're equal to a man. You're not equal to a man, you Hebrew women, right? This is all a part of submission, right, to Yahweh's order, to Yahweh's commandments. You have to have your head covered. That's a form of humbleness. So head wraps is a form of humbleness towards the Most High. Also, wearing a head wrap is humbleness towards to your husband as well. It's showing submission. Okay? This is the type of spirit Yahweh and Yahshua are looking for the daughters of Zion to have. So if you Hebrew women of today don't have this type of spirit of attributes, I suggest you repent and try to operate in this spiritual understanding of Yahweh's righteousness in these particular notes right here, because this is all biblical understanding. Okay, Israel, so hopefully you enjoyed this lesson on Kingdom Builders of Israel LLC YouTube channel. We just trying to put this content out there so the Hebrew women to know what type of spirit they supposed to be tapping into. Hopefully enjoy this lesson on biblical femininity according to the Bible, part 1. Okay, it's going to be many parts of this understanding on this particular series right here, but we just had to get this information out so our sisters will know what type of spirit Yahweh and Yahshua is looking for our sisters to have in these last days, so they can inherit everlasting life in that kingdom that's going to be established on earth. So if you Hebrew women are operating in the opposite spirit of this understanding, you're not inheriting the kingdom. Okay, that's just facts. You know, you have to be tapping in to the vibration of this Bible. You can't operate in the spirit of worldly things thinking you're going to be in the kingdom off the basis of you just knowing that you're a Hebrew Israelite. And that's what we have a lot of sisters are doing. They're holding on to the concept of them knowing that they're Hebrew Israelites and just thinking they're going to make it just based off that. No, you have to be operating in these type of spirits right here of righteousness. See, this is what the women of the Bible stood on. Okay, Israel. So hopefully you enjoyed this lesson, and stay tuned for part 2 lesson on biblical femininity according to the Bible. Part 2. Stay tuned for that one. Okay, Israel. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. Shalom.